Marcus Brown was a kind-hearted man with a quiet demeanor. He was in his early 40s, tall and well-built, with eyes that spoke of wisdom gained through years of hard work and perseverance. Marcus worked as a community leader in his hometown of Pinewood, a small but bustling town in the southern United States. Despite the challenges he faced as a black man in a predominantly white community, Marcus was deeply respected by those who truly knew him. He ran a nonprofit organization aimed at helping underprivileged children find opportunities for education and personal growth. One late evening, Marcus was driving home from an outreach program. He had just finished a long day of mentoring young students and was looking forward to a quiet evening with his wife, Rachel, and their 8-year-old son, Elijah. The roads were mostly empty, save for a few cars that occasionally passed by. As he drove through a quiet intersection, Marcus noticed flashing blue lights in his rearview mirror. A police car was signaling him to pull over. Confused but cooperative, Marcus slowed down and stopped by the side of the road. Two white officers, Officer Tom Hargrove and Officer Mike Sanders, stepped out of the patrol car. Both men approached Marcus's car with a sense of urgency that Marcus couldn't understand. "License and registration," Officer Hargrove demanded curtly. Marcus handed over his documents without hesitation. "Is there a problem, officer?" he asked, his voice calm but tinged with concern. "We'll ask the questions," Officer Sanders retorted. "Step out of the car." Marcus complied, stepping out with his hands visible. Despite his cooperation, the officers appeared suspicious. They claimed his car matched the description of a vehicle involved in a recent robbery. Marcus tried to explain that he had been at a community center all day, surrounded by dozens of witnesses. However, the officers didn't seem interested in hearing his explanation. Without further discussion, Officer Hargrove handcuffed Marcus and read him his rights. Marcus felt a deep sense of dread as he was placed in the back of the patrol car. He knew he hadn't done anything wrong, but the harsh reality of racial bias weighed heavily on his mind. Marcus spent the night in a holding cell, his thoughts consumed by fear for his family and frustration over the injustice he was facing. The following morning, he was brought before a judge for his arraignment. Rachel sat in the courtroom, holding Elijah close as they waited for Marcus to be brought in. The room buzzed with murmurs, many spectators curious about the case. When Marcus was brought in, he stood tall, his face calm despite the turmoil inside. The prosecuting attorney began presenting the case, claiming that Marcus's car and physical description matched those of the suspect in the robbery. The evidence, however, was circumstantial at best. Then came the moment no one expected. Marcus's defense attorney, a young and determined woman named Sarah Collins, stood up. "Your Honor," she began, "my client would like to address the court." The judge hesitated but eventually nodded. "Proceed." Marcus stepped forward, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "Your Honor, I've spent my entire life working to better my community. I've dedicated myself to helping young people avoid the very situations I'm being accused of. But there's something more you should know." He paused, locking eyes with the officers who had arrested him. "I am the son of Judge William Brown." Gasps filled the courtroom. Judge William Brown was a highly respected federal judge who had passed away years ago. He was known for his fairness and his commitment to justice, regardless of race or background. Marcus's revelation sent shockwaves through the room. The prosecuting attorney looked stunned. Officer Hargrove and Officer Sanders exchanged uneasy glances, their earlier confidence replaced by uncertainty. "Your Honor," Marcus continued, "I carry my father's legacy with pride. I've spent years trying to live up to his example. On the night in question, I was at a community center mentoring children. There are dozens of witnesses who can confirm this." Sarah Collins presented alibis and testimonies from individuals who had been with Marcus that evening. The evidence was overwhelming, and it became clear that Marcus had been wrongfully accused. The judge dismissed the charges, but the story didn't end there. After the hearing, Sarah approached Marcus. "Marcus, there's something you need to see," she said, handing him a file. Inside were documents revealing that the police department had been investigating Officer Hargrove and Officer Sanders for racial profiling and misconduct. Marcus realized that his arrest wasn't just a case of mistaken identity. It was part of a larger systemic problem. Determined to seek justice, Marcus filed a formal complaint against the officers and began working with civil rights organizations to bring attention to the issue. During the investigation, it was uncovered that the officers had been targeting minority drivers for months, fabricating charges to meet quotas and suppress certain communities. The revelation led to a public outcry. Protests erupted in Pinewood, with people from all walks of life demanding accountability. Marcus became a symbol of resilience and justice, using his platform to advocate for change. Months later, a special hearing was held to address the misconduct within the police department. Officer Hargrove and Officer Sanders were stripped of their badges and faced criminal charges for their actions. The department implemented new policies to prevent racial profiling, and Marcus's nonprofit received national recognition for its work in promoting equality and opportunity. Though the experience was harrowing, Marcus emerged stronger. He continued his father's legacy, not just as a community leader, but as a voice for justice. His story inspired countless others to stand up against injustice and to believe in the power of resilience and truth. In the end, Marcus's unwavering faith in justice and his refusal to remain silent brought about change that would ripple far beyond Pinewood. His story was a testament to the fact that even in the face of adversity, truth and courage can prevail. That's the story, friends. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a pleasure sharing it with you all. Don't forget to comment below and let me know where you're watching from. It's always fun to see the global reach of these stories. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button for more amazing stories, tips, and tricks. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. If you'd like to show some extra love, tap the 3 dots near the share button and send a super thanks.